Welcome to all of you rock stars of the runway to this episode of Hangar Talk. My name is Tom Thinnis, and I'm still coming to you from my very own Bronco basement. It is my distinct pleasure today to introduce you to three individuals who are part of the Air Force ROTC program. Western Michigan University is proud to be one of the institutions in the state of Michigan that offers Air Force ROTC. We partner with Michigan State University, where our cadets travel to once a week for their leadership labs. So with all that being said, let's jump in, let's meet our panelists, and get going. All right, so good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This morning, what we have with us, we have Captain Caitlin Woodley from the Air Force ROTC program. We have Cadet Daney, and we also have Cadet Reid. So thanks everybody for joining us. For those of you who are not who are watching this recorded, it's bright and early for us. It's 8:30 in the morning, so we're ready and raring to go, just like all the Air Force ROTC cadets are. So anyway, what I'd like to do is kind of start off with you, Captain Woodley, kind of introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and about the about where you came from and things like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Again, like you said, my name is Captain Caitlin Woodley. I am Detachment Cadre at Detachment 380. I actually hail from Michigan, so I came home for a little bit, for a couple years, for this assignment to teach and mentor cadets. I graduated from Eastern Michigan University with a chemistry degree and commissioned out of Detachment 390, so the dreaded rival for Michigan State, but that's okay because this detachment's way better. So just going to throw that out there. I am a nuclear missile operator by trade. So I spent most of my career so far up in the north, frozen tundra area, underground, operating on the Minuteman III ICBM weapon system. Absolutely love my career field. So if anybody wants to talk about nukes, I'm down for it. And then I came here to help recruit the next generation of amazing Air Force officers. I love to love to read, love to mentor and inspire. These cadets know I love to talk, full of energy. So if you have any questions regarding ROTC, I'm definitely the person for you.
That's awesome. Nuclear weapons is they just don't let me handle nuclear weapons. There's a reason for that. So I'm honored that I'm speaking with you, because I'm on the intellectual realms. I'm sure that you're way above me. So that's amazing. So
they teach you. Don't worry. Like if I was not prepared to take on nuclear weapons when I graduated from college. They throw you as a brand new, fresh from college person underground operating on this weapon system, but they definitely train you up and they make sure you're good to go before they throw you out there.
That's great. All right. Cadet Daney, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm a Cadet Daney, and then so I'm from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. I'm currently at Western Michigan in the Aviation Flight Science program as a senior. I'm working on my commercial single engine right now, hoping to finish that up before winter comes so I can avoid the bad weather. But I joined Air Force RTC the first semester available as a freshman for me. Pretty much loved it since, and don't think there's any better way to commission the Air Force than Air Force ROTC. That's kind of my spiel. Joined, well, I will get in that later, but yeah, goal is being a pilot. So.
All right, cool. And Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, home to the largest air show, just really, really close to the largest air show in the world, the greatest aviation experience ever. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. My parents are actually both air traffic controllers at Oshkosh. So.
The world's busiest airport for what is it? That whole week of that event, right?
Yes, sir. But they take vacation during that week, so usually we'll go to the air show for a couple of days, and it's just off to wherever. They don't want to deal with any of that. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool. All right. Last but not least, Cadet Reid.
Yes, sir. So my name is Cadet Reid. I'm originally from Canton, Michigan, over on the east side. Grew up U of M fan, and then had to make the hard switch when I joined Detachment 380 over at Michigan State. I didn't feel like taking the grief as much or as often. So now I'm wearing the Spartan patch on the shoulder here. But yeah, so both of us just got selected to be pilots less than a year ago. We're super excited. And yeah, I joined ROTC as a freshman. My dad was in the Air Force. It's kind of been a family thing, and I've always grown up around it. And my mom worked at the airport over in Detroit forever, and we always went to that air show. Not as awesome as Oshkosh, from what I've heard, but still, spent a bunch of time volunteering and everything, and grew up around planes, so I loved it, and that's kind of what I've known that I've been wanting to do forever. So
Fantastic. And that's the Thunder over Michigan show too, right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah. That's a fantastic show too. Oshkosh,
it's fun.
Oshkosh is bigger, no less, but Thunder over Michigan is amazing as well. So fantastic. Well, thank you all very much for joining us and talking with us this morning. So what I want to kind of do next is talk a little bit about the program, Air Force ROTC. I think everybody has kind of an idea of what ROTC is, but as people that are intimately involved with it, why don't you share us a little bit more about the program, what it's about, and things like that?
I'll go first, and then we'll just cycle through the cadets. But kind of from a cadre or staff perspective, ROTC is about developing the next generation of strong character, morally good, ready to take on the nation's military aspect of life, people that want to better themselves, people that are looking to push themselves physically, push themselves mentally, to lead, people that want to do good in the world. When I first joined ROTC, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself, and I wanted to do good in the world. And I think that's what we can provide for you. You make it through our program. We're going to put you on active duty. We're going to put you most times in charge of large groups of young enlisted airmen, and you're going to work hard. You're going to work, and you're going to do great things for the country.
So then, Cadet Daney and Reid, if you want to share some of your perspectives about the program, and ultimately too, why did you join? You're both students in college and in the university. What about the program? So what was it about the program for you, and then why did you join?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and I'll start with actually why I joined. So it does go back to the air shows, in fact. With all the F-16s, F-15s, the B-52 guys, I met a lot of them, and I always thought they're the coolest dudes with these flight suits on here. So they always told me to, definitely go Air Force, this and that. And then I actually never heard of Air Force ROTC while going through high school in Wisconsin. I played hockey for a year in Iowa, and I had a buddy telling me about it. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? I can become a officer in the Air Force, which is what you have to do to become a pilot. I was like, all right, well, I'm doing it. So I contacted Detachment 380 probably a day or two after I found out about it, and then stopped playing hockey. And then next year went to Western Michigan to join Detachment 380 while flying in the Western's aviation program, which I think is the best of both worlds right now. That's why I joined. As for the program it's pretty much a 4-year program, but you're a college student at the same time. So yeah, we'll have certain days where you're a cadet. Well, you're a cadet all the time, but we'll have certain blocks during the week of when it's strictly cadet time and ROTC time. But you have a lot of the college life as well, which I think is, again, the best of both worlds, where I'm not going to rip on the academy or anything, but the academy is 24/7. You're a cadet. There's not a whole lot of freedom there. And then I think ROTC, as a college student, and still going to pin on the same gold bars when you're done with the program as anyone coming out of the academy. So that's my kind of take on the program.
Yeah. Fantastic. And I know that's always one of the great parts about going to these air shows too, is seeing the military the operations that go on, and it's an amazing and impressive. So I can see how it definitely attracts people. So Cadet Reid, how about you? Why did you join the program?
Yeah, so kind of similar to Cadet Daney, where I grew up around the airport, family was involved in the airport, and I knew I wanted to fly planes, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to go military or civilian side or anything, so that's why I went to Western, and then I found out that the Air Force ROTC and stuff, you don't actually have to contract or like sign a contract or commit anything until halfway through college. So at the end of your sophomore year is when you actually kind of decide, do I want to stick through this or do I want to split ways with no strings attached? So I was like, well, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And then, I turned out loving it, obviously. But if you would have asked me how to describe ROTC every year, it would have changed. It's so dynamic and it's changing all the time. But if you would have asked the younger cadets right now, they'd say, oh, we're doing a lot of marching and studying the ways of the Air Force, basically. But if I had to really say it now, of being my 5th year here in college, I'd say it's as close to an internship as it gets with being in charge and learning how to lead from what you could say is like a company almost. The Air Force runs everything like a company, like a business. And that's kind of how I see it. So, for example, a couple semesters ago, I was in charge of over 100 people. And I have never thought I would be in charge of over 100 people, running operations, planning out weeks in advance, all this cool stuff of what to do, like going out into the woods and learning land navigational skills, or actually teaching the next generation, freshmen and sophomores, how to march and how to be successful at field training. And all that stuff. And it's just really awesome. It's a really awesome experience that not a lot of people get to have in college, honestly. So, yeah, that's kind of what I would say. It's like.
Wow. I mean, so what I'm hearing is that first and foremost, the one of the benefits is that you get to kind of try it before you buy it. Spending those first year and a half actually getting engaged, learning the culture of the Air Force. Is this the lifestyle that you want? So trying before you buy it, that's a huge, versus going the other route where if you go enlisted or you go, sometimes they got you for the 4 to 6 years that they enlist you, which is a great thing. But trying before you're buying is always a great thing. I never heard the describing of the Air Force ROTC as kind of an internship. That's an interesting way to describe it. What a great opportunity to really learn about it, engage in it, immerse yourself in it, and really learn. And then also the leadership opportunities that are out there, and that ultimately you're growing into a leader. So beyond all that, what are some of the benefits that all three of you kind of see by being part of the Air Force ROTC? What would be, if I'm a salesperson, usually it's always about features and benefits, so what are the benefits of going into the Air Force ROTC program?
So from my perspective, some benefits of the ROTC program are the scholarship opportunities. First and foremost, we love to push our scholarship opportunities. The Air Force it makes available scholarships for high school seniors, just looking at colleges and stuff to apply for a high school scholarship. And so while you can try out for the first 2 years for free, basically, ROTC, if you get a high school scholarship, you automatically get contracted at the start of your first year. So I do want to make that distinction there. If you don't start ROTC with a scholarship, then yes, you can definitely go through the first 2 years without any kind of commitment at all. But the scholarship opportunities also extend to in-college scholarships. So if you find yourself already a freshman wanting to join ROTC, you come in, you knock our socks off, you're a great leader, you PT super hard, you show us that your organizational skills are there, you're mature, you're ready to take on more aspects of the military life, we may award you an in-college scholarship. So there you get your school paid for there. Some other benefits, we have exclusive access to a lot of DoD internships, a lot of things over the summer with Lawrence Livermore Laboratories. You can fly scholarships. So if you have no experience or are not a part of the aviation program and you are interested in maybe being a pilot in the Air Force, the Air Force will pay a certain amount for you to go and try out a couple flying hours. We have tons and tons of other opportunities. I don't know if the cadets would consider this a benefit, but going to field training during your transition from sophomore to junior year is a great time. You go and test yourself on the obstacle courses. You go and have some paintball fun. We're going to push you mentally and physically there. I think a lot of the benefits also come from the camaraderie that you're going to develop within your class. You're going to make fast friends for life. People that you go through a lot of these tougher experiences with, you won't forget them. So from my perspective, those are a lot of the benefits I see.
Those are great perspectives. I want to sign up right now. I don't know if you take a 53-year-old man anymore, but man, can I sign my name on the dotted line? That's amazing.
I'll see what I could do.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about Captain Woodley hit the nail on the head there with pretty much the whole rundown there. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship after my first semester in college. I worked pretty hard for that, and it was pretty awesome to have most of my school paid for. Side note, the Air Force does not pay for any flight training through Western Michigan. Still, it's cut my student debt in half, so it's ideal. But for me, the benefits have come down. I kind of listed down like 3 things that I think when you come in, you'll be way better at than what you were before. And for me, at least, it was number 1, leadership. I remember my senior year of high school, I was captain of my hockey team, which I thought, I was a decent leader then. Had some fun doing that. And then these past 4 years, I've learned so much about leadership that I can look back and reflect on what I was doing in high school and was like, oh, why did I do that? Or why didn't I do this? Or was I letting friends get away with stuff they shouldn't have and stuff like that? So this whole program is literally based on leadership, as most of the cadets will go into leading day 1 when they commission as a second lieutenant. Number 2 thing would be communication skills. I was never really one who was outspoken. Still working on that to this day with my speaking and public speaking, and Air Force ROTC has given me plentiful opportunities to work on that with briefings and emails and teaching cadets now how to do stuff. And now being Cadet Vice Wing Commander, I've had a lot of interaction with cadets. Unfortunately, not face-to-face yet, but besides Zoom and WebEx, but a lot of emails have been back and forth, which hopefully we have an in-person lead lab coming up soon, which I'm looking forward to a lot. And then my third thing would be, where are we going with that? Time management. It's a lot of college. In college in general, teach time management. However, there are added duties and tasks per week with ROTC that really make you look at your week and break things off into certain times of when I'm going to do this, when I'm going to do that. Email deadlines, getting stuff in on time, and ROTC really stress that. And I can say I've definitely thought I was good coming into college, but nowhere near where I'm at right now. So those are my kind of 3 benefits of, even if you were to leave the program for whatever reason right now, or if I were to, I would feel way more confident in all 3 of those things going out into the civilian world than I would have.
Those are life skills, and those are life skills that you can take with you that are you'll have forever. Fantastic.
Well, I'll try and take what's left. I had a couple of things, and both of you kind of touched base on it. But one thing I kind of want to stress is the professional development training that you get. Right now, with like certain resumes, you can walk in to a management level position right now and be somewhat overqualified almost, the professional emails, the way you talk to people, your subordinates and your superiors, the way you operate like in a whole chain of command and everything, it's just unlike any other, and really sets you up for anything in or out of the Air Force. And then the other thing is the people is kind of what I fell in love with, especially when you start to travel. Like when I went down to Alabama for field training, my roommate went to University of Central Florida, and it was like a culture shock for the both of us. I didn't really know what Waffle House was that much or anything, and he he didn't know what Verner's was. So, yeah. So it's crazy. And then the cadet who was in charge of me was from Alaska, so there were some pretty crazy conversations there. So, it's just something, you just meet people that you honestly won't forget anytime soon. So that's what I think is really awesome about this program. Yeah.
Bringing the world together with Waffle House and Verner's, man. It doesn't get any better than that. That's great. So, typical day for an Air Force ROTC cadet. Obviously, we talked a little bit about this as part of college. This is what it kind of looks like. The experience that all of you have as part of being an Air Force ROTC cadet is a little bit different, wouldn't you say? And what might that look like for each of you?
Colin, you can actually go ahead and take this one first.
Sure, yeah. So, well, like Cadet Daney and I have kind of talked about, we were both in extracurricular activities basically year-round in high school. And if I had to compare it to something, it probably would be like being on a team. You have responsibilities outside of classes that you have to work around your classes. You have somebody who's actually watching your grades and making sure that you're going to graduate at the time you need to and all that stuff. But a typical day, I guess, would be 2 times a week. We're getting up to go to PT at 06:30, bright and early at the rec, trying to wake up and do a workout for an hour. And then you get out, and then usually you have a couple of your classes that you're going to go to. And then probably if you have downtime, you're going to want to check your email no matter what. Oops. And because you have emails flying in and out constantly, you need to be communicating all the time. That's how this program works. So I spend a lot of time with the emails open, obviously, and notifications are always just dinging all the time. So that's what I do usually in the evening. And then you're kind of prepping the whole week for what we call Leadership Laboratory, which is going to be on Thursdays. You're planning out what you need to do. It's 4 hours, and you're kind of planning out what you have to do for that week. So what that could consist of is marching, giving public speaking like presentations to over 100 people, which is pretty nerve-wracking to a lot of people, and studying your knowledge, learning the core values of the Air Force, whatever that may be. So, and then you have your weekend to kind of cool off and then do it all again.
Yeah, that's pretty in-depth there. I'll just add that as a freshman and sophomore cadet, it's more of showing up to lead lab, ready to learn. So most of your weekly commitments will be on that Thursday. However, as you get into the junior year and senior year, it's a lot more preparation to make sure that Thursday runs smoothly. So you'll have stuff starting, at least for Vice Wing Command right now, I've already been starting stuff for next Thursday, and it's Friday right now. So there's, so it's just different tasks and different requirements as you break up college in half. And that's all I have to add on that. Colin or Reid hit that pretty well there.
No rest for the wicked there. So you finish one, you start the next. It's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. Once they get it done, you start all over. Captain Woodley, is there anything that you'd like to add as far as what it looks like for a typical day for an Air Force ROTC cadet, especially from your viewpoint?
The only thing that I would add would be there's like 2 things that I would add. One of the things is the amount of time that it takes to prepare your uniforms to be ready to come in, because on Thursdays you have to wear your uniform all day. So a lot of times the cadets that will have their blues. Blues take a lot of work to get together to be worn appropriately throughout an entire day. So they're going to be making sure their ribbon racks are in the right position at the correct spacing. They're going to be making sure their ranks are seated properly, that their belt buckles are not twisted to the side too far, that kind of stuff. They're going to be making sure they lint rolled so they're not looking full of hair or other things that get on your uniform. Surprisingly, the uniform attracts a lot of random pieces of things. And then the other things that I would add is we do have clubs available. So if cadets choose to join either the drill team or Arnold Air Society, that might add time commitment to their days. So they would spend maybe an hour or so practicing drill movements, practicing throwing rifles around, practicing color guard type of presentations with the American flag and the Air Force flag. If they're a part of Arnold Air Society, that is a society-based club, so you will be spending time volunteering. You're going to be spending time in your community doing great things. You also will be spending time learning how to wear your uniform even better than you already wear it. So there's a couple different things that you would participate in if you choose to do so. Those are not mandatory, definitely optional, but some great opportunities.
The additional extra activities, the extracurricular activities, fun activities, drill team, color guard, all that stuff that provides other opportunities. That's cool stuff. So, and it sounds like a lot of attention to detail, making sure the uniforms are ready and raring to go. So, who should consider joining Air Force ROTC? Who's it for? Obviously, Western Michigan University, the cadre is actually located at Michigan State, so you travel up to Michigan State once a week. But if I'm coming into Western and I'm a Western student, what students should be looking at Air Force ROTC, I should say?
Honestly, Tom, we're looking for everybody. So we are looking for students that want to, they don't have to come completely raring to go, 100% correct, knowing the core values, sharpen their uniforms. We're going to teach you. This is exactly what ROTC is for, is to teach, learn, take the opportunities to gather all the tools we're trying to provide for you and make yourself into an Air Force officer that's ready to go on to active duty. And that takes 4 years. It takes 4 years to learn the type of communication styles, the way to communicate, how to engage people, and how to listen effectively. It takes 4 years to learn how to lead a team. It takes 4 years to learn how to pay attention to those details, because I'm sure the cadets can attest to this. They're probably still catching things, small details that they missed, and they're correcting them. But they have the tools to do that. So if you're a student who has never been exposed to military life, I do not want you to be afraid to come and approach us and talk to us about what ROTC is and how you can be a part of it. We want students that want to be a part of something greater than themselves, and that's what we're going to provide to you. And if you're not on scholarship, you have the opportunity to try it out, get a little taste test in, see what you think about it, and then go from there. You will stay in. I can guarantee you'll stay in. You'll fall in love with it. And if you don't, that's okay too. You tried it. You tried to do something a little different, get outside your comfort zone, and I applaud you for that. That's
fantastic, and that's part of what college is about too, is experimenting and checking out things that you've never considered. And like you said, if you're not on scholarship, why not? You can take a class or two, and is this for me? Because one of my favorite stories was we had an alumni. They went into the Army. But but it was at our aviation outlook day, and they were a senior, and they were walking, and they ended up talking to the warrant officer program, and never even had considered the military. And it's one of those things that maybe as a freshman, if they would have taken that Air Force ROTC class, maybe they would have fallen in love with it 4 years earlier than just finding out about something that senior year. So it's one of those things. Gamble, take the class. It doesn't, other than your time and a little bit of money potentially paying for the class, the benefits can definitely outweigh the challenges out there. So, lastly, kind of just what I want to to tag off or to jump off of this from is challenges or hurdles. As an incoming student that's looking at the program or considering the program, what are some of the challenges or hurdles that you might see as the leader of the program or as the cadets that have been through the program that if you could go back in time, you'd avoid or encourage somebody to avoid?
Well, I'll start. I think walking in, I started out a little too shy. Going into the program, a little timid, walking on eggshells, and was kind of nervous, didn't know who to talk to, a bunch of big, scary older people. In uniforms when you're not in a uniform yet, and it was quite intimidating to say the least. So I think everybody in the whole program is, has good intentions, and they're trying to do something good for themselves and for you. And I would say definitely reach out a little bit more do some of those cool extracurricular groups like the drill team or the Arnold Air Society, where you kind of get to know the cadets in the program a little bit better, and really just kind of dive in, because this program is really hard to kind of go 50-50 with it. If you fully immerse yourself and really drink the Kool-Aid, I guess, then you do better. But
Yeah, I can kind of add on to that. I think the cadets you see that don't necessarily make it through the program are the ones who kind of distance themselves. Someone's mowing the lawn. You yeah, so they're the ones who distance themselves and maybe think they're a little too cool for some of the extracurricular activities. I don't buy that.
That's an F-15 that's going by. You're close by the airport.
Yeah, that's what
close
it
to
is.
the tower.
Exactly. But yeah, I'd say definitely if just be involved. I know for Western there may be a disconnect between us and Michigan State. Um, we have programs here too. I know Cadet Reid and I were in one with it's called Phase Zero. It's pretty much a more intense workout group. It was led by at the time um, now he's Second Lieutenant Wiltsey, who is a Spec Ops or a TAC P officer, which is in the Spec Ops field in the Air Force. So he's pretty into all of that, and then was giving us some workout tips, stuff like that. And we made pretty close friends here at Western with our 400 class, and then so it just helps you stay in the program if you get to know someone, and that would be my biggest concern. Or as a 200 or as a sophomore, and even as a freshman, I wasn't getting to know our Michigan State cadets as well, which is something I wish I would have done. Because you will be working with them as soon as you come back for your junior year and senior year throughout the entire program, which thankfully now all pretty good. We're all pretty close. We're all able to work together very well as professional officer course cadets. So, and then I guess to tack on a little bit about my struggles as an aviation student here at Western is that whole Thursday is pretty much blocked off from any training for flight training. That is, you're pretty much at Michigan State the whole day. So on top of the airport not being open Sunday, now Thursday is not open as well to you. So this goes back to time management and fitting in flight lessons. So you have to utilize all the flight time as possible. Which I've been busy since freshman year, but I wouldn't change it for a thing because on track to go on a dream I've had since a kid. So it's been pretty awesome, and it's definitely well worth it.
Tom, do you mind if I add just one thing about
Absolutely. So
barriers?
you get to bring it all home there, Captain.
So from the staff, cadre, teacher, mentor perspective, the biggest barrier cadets face is the time management. You need to complete your degree or you can't commission. And if you cannot stay on top of your grades and balance ROTC, you just need to talk to us. We're not here to scare you, crush your dreams, tell you you can't be a part of ROTC. We are here to help you as best we can. We're not going to baby you either. If you're going to join the military, you need to stand up on your own 2 feet and own it. But we are not here to get in the way of completing homework, get in the way of going to laboratories, and we will work with you to make sure that stuff gets done. If ROTC is becoming too intense for you, you just need to have the conversation. And that comes with connections to friends in the program who can maybe help you, tutor you, show you what they're doing in their class to prepare and study. And maybe you can pick up those techniques to also prepare and study. Because the biggest barrier is keeping that GPA up and getting to that finish line, which is your degree. Because you cannot commission without a degree.
Yep. That's words of wisdom from people that have walked the walk and talked the talk. That's fantastic and amazing stuff. So, well, thank you all very much for joining us. We're very proud at the College of Aviation to kind of house the Air Force ROTC program. People can go to our website. We'll put the website address at the end of this so that people can jump on that and go get more information out there too. But tremendous opportunity. So again, we're very proud that you're housed in our little world, and we know that we get a lot of Broncos that are part of the cadre, and that's up there. So thank you again all very much for joining us today, and you have a fantastic rest of the day. And Cadet Daney, hopefully that airplane that's buzzing the tower over there by you stops. But anyway, you guys have a great day, and thanks again.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for letting us be a part of this.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So thanks everybody for joining us on this episode. It was my distinct pleasure to introduce you to Captain Woodley, Cadet Daney, and then also Cadet Reid. If you'd like more information about the Air Force ROTC program at Western Michigan University, make sure you stay for the end credits. We'll have the website there, so you can click on that and go and get more information. So thanks again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Hangar Talk.